Hey, Guelph, Mark MacKinnon here, your Ward 6 City Councillor. I want to talk to you about the library vote that's coming up on October 7th. So we have a meeting on the 5th and talk about October 7th. So I'm out today taking a walk, and I really thought I needed to kind of explain my positioning on it, because there's a lot of discussion on social media about who's for, who's against, what are the details about it, what do we need and whatnot. So while this is being framed about a capital decision about building the library, this isn't about the capital decision. This is not about building a new library and what that entails. What this is about is in service enhancement. So right now we pay in taxes every year. We allocate $9.6 million a year to the library services. And that includes all the branches, that includes every service that the library provides. So with the 9.6, what is going to happen once we have a new library? It's projected, if we proceed with the library the way it is, it's projected it's going to increase in a few years to about 3.5 million more. That's 3 to 3.5 more. Roughly a 36% tax increase. So this is an increase in the service level that we're looking at about 36%. Now, we have done what's called a development charge study, or a DC study, which shows that the library, the reason why we can allocate this number you keep hearing about, maybe in the news, about 43 million. So that is associated with roughly a 60,000 square foot library. And that is to maintain the current service level. That is accounting for growth. So, for example, the South End Community Center, when we build it, it's not considered additional services. What we're doing is we're keeping up with growth. So that's what a growth component is. So the 60,000 square foot, or roughly 43 million, is considered the growth component for the current library services. What they're currently looking at is an increase in services. And so that's where the 36% come from. So just imagine any board, whether it's the police or maybe fire, could be public health, it could be roads, parks, anything like that. A 36% tax increase is substantial as a service increase. We don't just increase transit by 36% without having a discussion. And we're not talking about the service enhancement that's currently being proposed. All we're talking about is the capital component. But this isn't capital, because the need for the capital is being driven solely by the anticipated increase in the service. So with the downtown library, we need a new branch, a new downtown. There's no doubt about it. Everyone recognizes that on council, that what is currently there is not adequate for the services. If we were to build a new library that maintained the services the way they are, there would be a growth component, no doubt about it, that would require tax money. That's roughly where the 43 million comes from. And we already have accounted for that as part of a growth. The same way that the South End Community Center, when it's getting built, we're not adding new services, we're accounting for growth because we need the facilities to deal with all the extra population. So with the library, the size that they're looking at, the 88,000 square feet, the 62 million, that is not just growth, that is a service enhancement. So right now we do not have, say, particular types of rooms, particular types of services. We don't have music rooms. We don't have tech facilities. We don't have the music room that they're looking at, a recording studio and whatnot. So what we need to be talking about is the service enhancement, but we can't, because we don't talk about services about the library. That's a separate board. The same way we don't talk about police services, we don't talk about public health services. All we do is fund it. But a 36% tax increase is substantial on a service increase. Some of it will be growth, but most of it is going to be a service increase. And it's this service increase that is currently the problem, why some councillors have a problem with the pricing that's been suggested, because we haven't been talking about the service. And do we want to have such a large service increase? We're not increasing transit by that much. We're not increasing our parks or rec or our snow removal and whatnot, but that's the anticipation with the library. And so what's driving the library size is solely the service increase plus the growth component. If we took out the service increase and maintained the growth, so we need something bigger, that's where the 60,000 or the 6,000 square foot comes from, and that's where the 43 million comes from. Anything beyond that is an enhancement of the service. And there's a lot of members of our community that would want a service enhancement, and I get that. There's people that want more transit, there's people that want better park maintenance. Everyone in the community is going to have something that they want to see more of, and there's nothing wrong with that. But as a councillor, I feel it's my duty to look at what are we doing with our services. We haven't talked about what services are more important than others. Are parks less important than libraries? Our snow removal, plowing, public health, fire, police, are all of these less important than the library service enhancement? Because it's a substantial increase they're asking for. I would say we need to have that discussion. But we're not doing that. All we're talking about is the capital cost of a library. It's a false narrative that's being set up that this is about the size of a building, and it's not. It is about the enhancement of a service. And so that's why when the vote comes on October 7th, I have to take a look and say, what's best for the whole city? We need a new library. I'm going to vote for a new library. But do we vote for a library that's just growth? Or do we vote for one that's growth plus a massive service enhancement? And that's where some councillors are having some troubles with it. So I hope you pay attention what's happening next week. Tune in on October 5th, which is the meeting, October 7th, which is the vote, and I'll see you online. Thanks.